I disagree with both of them said, and I'm going to address it with facts. Okay. I disagree with what both of them just said. I want to hear what they say to her next question, and then I'm going to give you my assessment on this.
Demand equation changes and pivots in the future, I mean, does it just kind of reverse?
Well, I think the challenge is, and I think, Sarat, I don't know that you disagree here, but it's really about the duration of that demand. And I think right now, if you look at, and akin to what we saw in the commodity super cycle, and we saw several years where that demand continued at a pretty voracious pace.
Yeah.
So I think if you look at, I guess the answer to your question though, Leslie, is how many companies of the S&P 500 or, how many of them have actually committed what they likely will commit over the next 4 to 5 years in terms of AI implementation? And I would say that's a small number, a small percentage. And so it's the pie is going to continue to grow. And even with additional efficiencies over the next couple of years, say 1 to 2 years, there still is going to be more new entrants in terms of demand. So even if that efficiency potentially offsets some of that demand, that pie is going to continue to grow in aggregate. And there's been investment in this space up till now. All of the investment has really been on that front edge with the hyperscalers. Now, to Joe's point about broadening, the way we see this is that AI will broaden, that this demand is broadening pretty meaningfully to other sectors. And I think we're just at the front edge of that trade. So could you see some interim volatility in these prices as maybe a little too much pulled forward for 2026? Absolutely. But I think in terms of longer term demand over the next couple of years, you don't have nearly the gauge of how many entrants into this market that we believe will be there 2 or 3 years from now.
It's broadening though, but it's actually broadening within the AI universe itself. I mean, how much more can utilities continue to appreciate? Last year, we heard all about.
Okay. I'm going to get angry at that. So I don't even want to listen to what he's about to say. Here's the facts. Okay. In the trailing 12 months, Micron Technologies has spent, and I'll just put on the screen. I don't know if any of these people, let me not phrase it like this. I don't know if they've looked at the recent financials. I really don't. Because when you look at the cash flow, am I on quarterly or annual? Hold on. The operating cash flow from Micron I just want to make sure that I'm getting two different things. Okay, so I have 2025. I don't have year to date on this or TTM. Hold on. I forgot. I did not add that in. So last fiscal year, they did $15.86 billion in CapEx. $15.86 billion in the last fiscal year. Micron does not report on a calendar year. Before that, look at this CapEx. 8.4 billion, 7.7 billion, 12 billion, 10 billion, 8 billion. They stepped it up to 15.86. And then in the TTM right now, they're over 30 billion, $20 billion. Their cash from operations, so I'll bring it up on Seeking Alpha real quick. Their cash from operations for Micron has exceeded $30 billion in the TTM. Their CapEx, 20 billion. How they can say that these companies are not investing the way that the chip companies are is insane. It's insane. They absolutely are. If they weren't, we wouldn't see high bandwidth memory from Micron. We just wouldn't. So they're probably just looking at price. They're probably not understanding the story. And I'm not going to say I understand every little thing about every little thing, especially with memory. I don't follow memory as closely as I do the GPUs. I understand it enough though. And moving to 3D high bandwidth is completely different than what they were doing before. If we need more chips, we are going to need more memory. Now, I think what Shannon said was correct. We're going to see a broadening and we do not know how much is going to get spent. I totally agree with that. But if we look at SanDisk on the same metrics, SanDisk cash from operations expanded. Their CapEx isn't really going up, but Micron's is. And they're spending more in CapEx, I would bet, than Nvidia and AMD. I don't think Nvidia spends like a tremendous amount of CapEx. They don't. 6 billion. Now, Micron is building out fabs, and that's probably why their CapEx is exploding. They're not spending this CapEx for a cycle that's running 1 or 2 years. They're just not. They're just not. I think that they're wrong. I think that this has got a lot of legs. I really do.